Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. It's really a pleasure here to make a presentation about DARIAH-EU, and I've changed the title several times, and I think the best one is this one, DARIAH Countdown. We're just a few weeks, days, seconds before DARIAH is being created. The papers are at the Commission, and until the last minute we know that a few countries will still knock at the door. But here today we're here to rejoice and welcome Greece here through all the institutions you mentioned. And for us, it's even more than just a new country in the surroundings for two reasons. First, because you've been, Ellen, Kostis, Panos, all around with us since the beginning when we started to have this idea of DARIAH in our heads. Because without you, we would probably miss one of the strong links, even if Italy has brought part of that towards cultural heritage. And I think we cannot do decent humanities or digital humanities without having this connection, this constant connection with digital cultural heritage as well. And like you mentioned also, because you've got such a tradition of research in digital humanities, I may say, you mentioned the ILSP. I was just thinking that I had my first research project with them in 1993, a long time ago, and we were designing folders of museum objects with all the colleagues there, so quite a few memories there. A quick history of DARIAH so that you're all aware that we are not just starting, even if it is a kickoff here for DARIAH Greece. When I said we were all together, that was since 2006, when DARIAH was put for the first time on the S3 roadmap. It's been a very important time for many reasons. The main one, probably that the humanities for the first time were taken seriously at the Commission level and considered as part of any deep research program concerning infrastructures. At that time there were 6 projects on the S3 roadmaps related to social science and the humanities. We now have 2 nearly in place or in place with Clarin and DARIAH, preparing also some deep collaborations between the two at various levels of activities. But you need to see this work which has been achieved. Already a lot of interaction, communication with the European Commission during these years with a strong support. I think this is a message also for the Commission that we deserve the constant support we've had so far. And Horizon 2020, you mentioned that will also be an opportunity to strengthen the activities we have in this group. Just a quick word about what DARIAH is, I've got several ways to present DARIAH. We spoke about a quick dating environment where scholars can come. They've been working on digital information. They've experimented new digital methods. They know about the kind of interaction with various, for instance, cultural heritage databases they want to have. And they join within DARIAH to actually share their experience, share their data, which is very important in the current open context, I would say, and also share, when possible, their tools and technical environments. So DARIAH is a place where researchers can join their efforts in going digital. We speak a lot about digital humanities also. It's not just the digital humanists that are represented in DARIAH, but that's all the humanists who want to work with digital methods. And for some of them, for many of them still in Europe, have no idea on how to move ahead in this direction. So it's not a small club of digital humanists, it's a large club of humanists who want to go digital in a way. For researchers, by researchers, because we cover a wide range of humanities, which is a little bit frightening at times when you want to coordinate all that. Touches from literary studies, archaeology, medieval studies. We've got people with various backgrounds, but most of the hot topics, the need for instance, long-term archiving of data, the needs for having proper standards to represent some data and be interoperable with others, the need to have some large-scale European training activities so that young researchers get acquainted immediately with digital methods are shared across those various communities. One angle are the communities, of course the other angle, because from an administrative point of view, DARIAH is a consortium of states represented by their ministries of research or Ministry of Culture, depending on the country, sometimes both. You see that we now have, this is the latest count, 12 countries, with the little Belgium knocking at the door. We know that it could be signed any time, maybe turning to Belgium. Don't turn your head. And join, because this is where the countdown stays. The EU will close the door within 2-3 weeks at most, but anyone who comes before may be one of the founding members there. You see a lot of countries on the right-hand side there. That's the right-hand side for you as well. Being prepared, we're working intensively with them step by step to help prepare a case for DARIAH. If you've listened to me so far, and I guess you have, you've understood that DARIAH is not just a one-level activity. To be able to join DARIAH, you need to have the political support at administrative level. You need to have some strong institutions that are really ready to participate. You need to have some champions, like Helen, who are, or Panos or Kostis. I say Helen and you take the three in my mind, who are just pushing the case and bringing also, you see 6 institutions in DARIAH Greece, bringing in a concerted network the appropriate people to play the game of DARIAH. Another axis is of course the actual content. DARIAH is a network of contributions. It's a bottom-up activity. Each country is coming with its specificities, its national roadmap in a way, the kind of topics, technical, editorial, or research topics where they are at best, and come to DARIAH and say, this is what we bring. There is no top-down uskas to say, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do this in DARIAH, because it would make no sense. That's really according to what you decide at the national level that we work. That's the way we create a network of services, for instance, publication services, mentioning the French contribution here with a huge infrastructure for academic blogs, having an open access publication archive. We need to discuss the connection with OpenAir there, and an environment to manage scholarly events, network of services. I'll come back to VCC2 soon. With a lot of education services. We were, Sally, like 11, 12 summer schools related to DARIAH that are organized this year through the various projects which are related to DARIAH, which is enormous because it goes in the direction of what I was saying. A young scholar now is cannot, should not speak more than 1 minute without touching this. No, I make them speak again to one another. DARIAH is about standards. DARIAH is about interoperability and IT infrastructure. Bing. There you are. So many summer schools organized, a lot of training events. I don't have an idea. I cannot keep a radar of all what's going on in this domain currently. It's really amazing. I think you've been working also this weekend on a new application for next year and maybe even more. I would say I don't want to know. It's already too much for me. A network of services as well. It's very important to consider that we do need technical services. We need to pool together long-term archiving facilities across Europe because the quantity of data, and it's not just text, a lot of images. I was discussing with the Italian colleagues about the importance of 3D modeling of cultural heritage objects. I cannot imagine the size of the data we're going to get through that. You need to identify this object precisely. You need to have trust when you point to such a digital object if you want to reuse it for research. So to acknowledge the source of the information, this is really essential. And this is achieved through a whole series of activities. So I mentioned training activities. We've got also once a year a general technical gathering. Last year it was in Denmark. Next year in September we'll all meet in Rome. And basically anyone playing a little part of the DARIAH game will meet there. It's not only the technical working groups within DARIAH. We are planning in Roma this year to leave rooms so that communities who just want to have the opportunity to meet in parallel to our technical sessions can also be there and exchange with the others on site. There's been a lot of various activities. Mentioning this one, that was in Lithuania in April last year, this first hackathon, DARIAH hackathon here, or in July last year, this meeting dedicated to IP issues related to digital humanities research, which is also quite a complex issue. I mean, we're still not in the position to have one single license attached to any kind of humanities data for many reasons, because sometimes there are some personal information in there. We need to take care of that, because sometimes the information is coming from a third source, typically museums, and we need to have a clear strategy to spread the word, to be as open as possible in the domain of research, but still maintain a link with our sources of information. The last event that took place is the VCC2 meeting in Athens yesterday and the day before yesterday, where I got this summary. I asked for a one-slide summary yesterday night, and I got this one over the night. It was about research, like reshaping, revamping VCC2, reimagining what you're doing, putting some coherence into all that. It looks, I don't want to know what happened in this room during these 2 days, but it looked like you've had fun, obviously, from the tweets and what I've saw so far. That's probably the spirit of DARIAH. I mean, trying to be too serious in there would make no sense, but if people come and have fun and contribute to research, we are all the more happy. Well, there are some serious things happening in DARIAH. We've got quite a few EU projects. We call that affiliated projects. You see some of them, some financed by the EU, some being like NEDIMA, financed through the European Science Foundation. We've got Dixit, a Marie Curie network, yeah, top right. All the tools available at a national. There are a lot of national projects I'm not mentioning here, but of course at European level to help communities be structured. ERI and Sendarity typically would not have occurred without DARIAH, where we actually went to the commissions. We said, look, the historians for Sendari need to be put in the game because they are a little bit behind in some respects, and we managed to have this project be put together. And now such projects like Sendari are blooming in the DARIAH environment. It's also important to consider that the success we've had so far allowed us to be very present on the Horizon 2020 roadmap. We know already that there are quite a few projects in preparation. In particular, Franco is responsible for putting together a cluster of humanities projects so that we've got a good coherence across the various funding initiatives in Europe, and that's just one out of many things we've got on our list there. Finally, yeah, DARIAH by researchers for researchers. This is so important that that's probably my conclusion is in there. I arrived late yesterday night and I'm I see that the brain is not completely connected to the tongue currently. We're managing to keep a constant look at the research communities and to identify the lacunas, the lacks in the development of digital methods in there, and then take them one by one and bring them into the DARIAH network. This is a very difficult situation because it impacts at all levels. I always like to remind everyone that the first step to make sure that digital methods are accepted in the humanities is that young researchers who have a strong background in digital methods are accepted by recruitment panels, for instance, that such projects are validated also by national funding agencies where some of the humanities panel may not be so reactive to new methods. There's a lot to be done by all of us to actually go everywhere and show the advantage of a proper management of digital sources, of digital methods in the humanities to bring the whole humanities into a better wealth of research. Thank you very much.